Are Indian homes really losing its identity?
Still we see that mandir, like a puja room, still is a very emotional aspect that people would want in their house.
They've let go of the courtyards and the lovely semi-open spaces for FSI.
People would ditch Italian marble and go with limestone.
You know, it's the material that actually creates the personality of the home.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
The problem is affordable homes. So there is no true solution to it.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today for this conversation. Personally, for me, this topic of conversation is really important to talk about. So I personally come from the space of design, craft, but also education, where I work a lot with students and also figuring out what the future of design specifically in India looks like. So are Indian homes really losing its identity?
If you say Indian identity, we always, when you look back at history, we had courtyard homes, we had verandas, we had jali, we had Kerala architecture, you know, long canopies, slanted roofs, sloping roofs, Mangalore tiles.
Yeah.
But with the advent of urbanization and more population coming to urban cities, we're going more vertical.
Right.
And since our practices focus mainly towards architecture, we have no choice but to accept it and create what is the need of the hour. But how do we still create that context of the space where the project is what is important, you know, that we don't lose the identity. Because vertical could be anywhere, you know, all the metros, all the tier 2 cities, everything is going vertical. But should your project have an identity of the neighborhood that it's being developed in?
Yeah.
That is very, very important.
As she mentioned that there are a lot of courtyard homes and you know, like thatch roofs, sloping roofs.
Yeah.
But since the buildings have gone vertical,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say that we have still disassociated having that Indianness in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe we've just tried to cramp the space. Like say the thresholds could be like a shoe removal space.
Yeah.
Maybe the balconies are the extension. Like we would have like a say me time or like some relaxation time in the crunch of the busy city life.
Yeah.
Also, the utility areas have extended like from the kitchen spaces.
Yeah.
So the needs are still there. Like still we see that mandir, like a puja room, still is a very emotional aspect that people would want in their house. Maybe it's a small corner, but they still want that emotional feel of the house.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that Indianness has really like disconnected.
Yeah.
But I think it has been redefined in a way that it still fits in your space.
Yeah.
And living room, of course, says without, I mean, it goes without saying that, you know, it is like the multi-room for everywhere. You still entertain your guest or, you know, it's like a multi-utility room where you have movable furnitures put across, like extended dining tables.
Right.
It still accommodates all your guests.
So I think now my take on this is a bit different.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel that Indian identity, it's not about the decor and it's not about the design per se at this point.
Yeah.
I feel what we really need to do is understand our Indianness, and we need to project it and speak with the client. We need to first understand their identity. They have to come down to understanding what exactly their aspirations are, whether they want to go the global way or whether they want a midway, or whether, you know, sometimes people do want a show house.
Yeah. Shefali, just to kind of, add on, because you have 30 years of working as a designer, do you see those needs having evolved? Do you see the awareness of the user, the homeowner, also evolving? I mean, you stated a very valid point about how, there are users who understand what their needs are and are able to communicate them. But you also have this one set of homeowners who might not, they have the budgets to work with, but they completely rely on your experience to execute. कि मुझे global level की, मुझे, I want I want
Aspiration.
the aspirational house. Adi, what about you? What is your take on?
I think I would just like to add to what she's saying because,
Yeah.
I think homes, whether it's a 1,500 square foot home or 3,000 square foot home, unfortunately now, I think in the metro cities, they've let go of the courtyards and the lovely semi-open spaces for FSI. Right? Because they want the FSI and that's why they've let go of these spaces. But I think what makes the home, what adds to the Indianness is the people.
Yeah.
And the people who are inhabiting the home. So I think when you look at the family that's living, their value systems, their habits, their, how they entertain, how they live, how they cook, where they meet, what they're going to do. And if you make the home around the family, then I think you're automatically adding the Indian touch to the whole house because it's, as long as it's, amalgamating to the characteristics of the people living in it.
Eventually, it's the number game, right?
Correct.
If you look at X city, there's an X price to the real estate. It has to be value for money, even for the developer who's doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not only the number, but that's where there's the eye to the tiny detail on how you have to make a small home also functional. Be multifunctional spaces, flexible spaces. How do you create that small little area which will help the end user, the occupant of the houses, what truly matters?
Absolutely. And I want to pose this question to both Ruchi and Pragya. Having worked on residential towers, especially, luxury towers, do you see this as an issue?
I think luxury towers is not a problem because you have a lot of space to play with. You can allocate a servant's quarter, utility space. The problem is affordable homes. When you're looking at smaller areas, how do you plan utility in those apartments is challenging.
I want to understand that from you because given that you have so much of experience in research and understanding of the India market, what do you think is the solution here? Is it only about creating multifunctional spaces?
So there is no true solution to it because it is on the demography, the market segment that we are looking at, who are our target audience that we're designing for or catering to. So there cannot be a perfect solution.
I feel that when we are working in small spaces, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
We come up with great solutions.
I think, no, that's absolutely right. Like, I think that's the reason why you have, international brands like IKEA doing so well in a market like India. And of course, you have a lot of Indian brands too, whether it's a home center or whether it's even something like Fab India, really thinking about flat packable furniture. So I'm curious to know from you, what are the materials that you think are quintessentially Indian? That is making its way
a
back.
lovely house in Calcutta now. It's very modern, super excited clients also. But we're doing the whole floor in concrete with little bit of brass inlay. And the entire house is like not Scandinavian, I would say, but very raw and rough look with lot of potteries, as you mentioned, the clay potteries. So it's accessorized also in such a way that, and he was very clear that, we want to do a very open, airy, so no hanging lights as such. Even the light fixtures have been kept it's suspended, but very strongly suspended, and no fan in the entire house. So we only want to live on the natural ventilation. They have good winters for at least 3 months in a year. So that time they prefer it. And that's like an extended floor to them. So they're we just want to keep it very raw and simple.
I would love to see the pictures of the concrete flooring with brass inlay. I mean, that sounds amazing.
It's actually contrasting material.
I think it's becoming very popular now.
Yeah.
And I think also that comes from the design. I doubt there are not too many clients. They want the very polished marble finish.
Otherwise
they come with the cliche at the beginning of the project. But I think it's up to us to introduce Indian materials to them. Any natural stone, concrete, lime plaster. I mean, it looks beautiful when done, and they actually love it when it's finished. It's just that the suggestion normally never lands up coming from them. It's just us. And I also feel like, it's the material that actually creates the personality of the home.
Are there any specific materials that you are particularly excited to be using?
We love lime plaster.
Lime plaster.
Love it. I just love it as a material, and we use it a lot at all of our projects.
Right.
We also use a lot of concrete and micro cement and, things like that, which is very interesting, and it looks beautiful, and it can become opulent and it can become rustic. It can work both ways depending on how you pair it with other materials.
So I love limestone. and I would grout the limestone and use it in high-end interiors.
Yeah.
And I think it gives that that identity of ours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like would be so beautiful that people would ditch Italian marble and go
for
with
the-
limestones.
limestone.
Yeah.
Do you think also
It's used
social media
well.
can be credited here a little bit in terms of the awareness of these materials? I mean, you did talk about how it's the designer's role also to introduce these materials, but I am also witnessing, thanks again to algorithm, I guess. But do you also see social media play a role in the way that these needs and necessities are evolving?
I think clients come with a very set knowledge of what they want and the look they want. I think I don't do that much of interiors, but I'm sure like my studio does it and they tell me they know exactly what they want,
Yeah.
Like this is what we have in mind,
So I think all these materials that she's talking about, I'm talking about, they're used a lot in villas and bigger spaces.
Yeah.
But people are not yet venturing into using them in smaller spaces.
Right.
They are not yet comfortable.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think if something like that starts in smaller apartments on social media, we might get the kickstart.
We've done actually many apartments.
Then you should put it on
Yeah.
social media and boost it.
It is.
Very actively
boost
so,
it.
yes. Yeah.
It is, and I
Yeah.
think it changes the character of the
Yeah.
house. In fact,
Yeah.
it looks very nice in small spaces.
Yeah.
Because the coziness, the warmth, which actually the clients want. It's just they don't know how to explain what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we can create through material.
Actually, as designers, we also need to start a storytelling and
Yeah.
ask them to also tell their story.
Right.
I think conversations are very, very important,
essential.
and you must realize that they've hired you to direct them towards the right way.
Right. Yeah.
You can't say he wants this, so I'm going to give it. I think that extra mile we have to go to talk it over with them and try and convince them.
Yeah.
And otherwise come to, even when they give you a lot of Pinterest images, we do learn a lot about them as clients.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
then
what
we
I would
can,
agree with.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we can, I think, go back to our drawing board and give them something that will give the house its identity.
Right.
It just explains their emotion, quite frankly. You can understand what they're like how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And how we put that feeling into material and into the process is up to us.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can really take some image and just literally say, okay, we're going to do it for you.
replicate
Then you
it.
don't need a
Yeah, you
designer.
don't need a
a
designer.
contractor to
Yeah.
execute it for you. You don't need the design.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
If I just take it a little different track on this, we designed a residential project which had about 200 homes, and this was in Borivali, close to Sanjay Gandhi National Park. So when we got the project, the brief was obviously 2-3 BHK. This is the number we need to fit. This is the FSI. But when we did the neighborhood study, we went to Sanjay Gandhi National Park, and we found out that there are Kaneri caves, which are Buddhist caves. And we got the confluence of the entire project from the Buddhist architecture.
That's amazing.
When we've created a drop-off, which is a 7-meter tall drop-off canopy, where we've done fresco painting.
Oh, wow.
And we've given cutouts in the podium, and we have landscape going through the podium in the drop-off area, so there's kind of a connection. And the entire project, so it didn't exceed the budget, because obviously if we exceeded the budget, the developer won't construct it.
Yeah.
So it's not only the home, so the entire project got an identity of the neighborhood.
yeah.
Right.
So everybody recognized it. Oh, that is like, even now, it's been almost 13-14 years since we've executed, but that project, still everybody, oh, you guys are the architects of that project.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the identity of the entire project that can then resonate into whether to make it Indian. And even like we went ahead and did the lobbies, where we casted the entire story of Siddhartha to Buddha. We connected the three lobbies.
Yeah.
And we played with the material in such all natural stone, everything Indian. So it's how well you can convince even a developer to fit those designs in a number.
And can I just say, what a great idea of also being inspired by local context,
Yes.
right? You
Yeah.
can still,
That's really
this is a great
nice.
case. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like a great case study of you building a urban complex. But thank you so much for sharing such valuable insights and observations. I think it's very much alive and well that there is no loss of identity.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is a room for homogenization either. I think given that all of you at least come from different experiences, there's always conversations around local context, around creating room for so many different utility spaces.
And it's evolving every single day. It's changing. It's amazing.
Design should not be static.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You have to move on.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's a great way to end our conversation as well. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and we look forward to seeing your exciting projects.